you like your Fords fast, then 2016 is quickly becoming a vintage year, with V8 Mustangs selling like hotcakes across Europe, a new beautiful GT car fighting for honours at Le Mans, and an all-new version of a very iconic hot hatch, the 345 brake horsepower four-wheel drive Focus RS. Though the looks have been toned down a little bit since the last time the Focus wore an RS badge back in 2009, the Mark II, well, that looked like a homologation rally special, straight from the stage. But this car, because it's now a global design, comes only in a 5-door layout, and that means no blistered arches or wide body design. Having said that, it does still look pretty mean, with this big rear spoiler at the back, apparently inspired by the Ferrari F40, a diffuser that gives real downforce, and a pair of cut twin exhausts too. Think of this then as a nice halfway house between the Q-car subtlety of the Golf R and the bonkers Banzai aesthetic of a Civic Type R, and all finished in this lovely nitrous blue. In here though, things are a little bit more toned down. Unless you go for the optional bucket seats with holes for 6-point harnesses, then it feels pretty similar to the ST inside. There's a flat bottom steering wheel, a unique set of dials, and some nice blue stitching and RS badges, but that's about it. And you have to pay extra for luxuries like cruise control, the sat-nav, or even rear parking sensors. Having said that, the standard price is $29,995, so I'm not complaining. Has the RS lost its bite though? Well, I think it's probably time we go and find out. Now, you probably all know the vital statistics for this car off by heart, but it bears repeating. This is a Ford Focus that costs less than £30,000, but it'll also do 0 to 62 in 4.7 seconds and go on to hit 165 miles an hour. But just exactly what does that feel like on the road? Well, I can tell you from the driver's seat that it certainly feels like a serious piece of kit. The ride feels really well judged, but it's a lot stiffer than the ST and just the right side of comfortable. The steering though is lighter than I expected. It's actually really darty and it works well with the front end. The car just seems like it's falling into corners, and it works beautifully with the four-wheel drive system, which is a first for the Focus RS. Focus RSs of old have always been technical tour de forces, and this version is no exception. It uses a new four-wheel drive system which is extremely lightweight, but uses a pair of clutch packs to shift power from the front to the rear axle and between those rear wheels to give you loads of drive out of corners. It works really, really well too. The limits of traction are very, very difficult to approach, even on roads like this. Unless you chuck it in, you're going to get nowhere near the limit of grip of these tyres. And it also means that you can use all of the power from the new 2.3-litre engine. It's a turbocharged 4-cylinder, which means you miss some of the rally-bred 5-cylinder warble from the previous version. But having said that, there's absolutely nothing wrong with the power delivery. Peak torque comes in at just over 2,000 RPM, and then as soon as you get it wound up, you can hear this raughty straight-through exhaust system filling the cabin with noise. It's really, really fast, this thing, but not that intimidating. It's surprisingly easy to drive quickly, and there's 4 different driving modes to cycle through as well. Here on the road, we've been trying out normal and sport, but there are 2 modes to explore later tomorrow when we're on track 2. One is the obligatory track mode, which stiffens everything up by about 40%, in fact, when it comes to the dampers, but drift is the final mode, and that is the Ford Focus's party piece, and we're looking forward to trying that out tomorrow. So these cars are a little bit different from the ones we've been driving on the road. They've got the optional bucket seats, as you can see. They've also got the optional stickier Cup 2 tyres on, and the optional 19-inch forged alloys, which look great too. Here at the Circuit de Valencia, we now should be able to try out those 2 other driving modes and find out just what the RS is capable of. Here on the track that you can really appreciate the stiffness in the body and the chassis, the amazing steering that this new RS has got. And I was talking to one of the engineers last night, and he said the great thing about this car is it doesn't feel like a turbocharged engine, which means as soon as you're out of a corner and you just gently push on the power, it pulls and pulls and pulls all the way up to the 6,800 RPM red line. You're supposed to shift a little bit before that at 5,800 RPM, but with the cracks and popples going, you tend to just want to rev it all the way out. And you can feel the car moving around all the time. The rear is always trying to help you out. That trick four-wheel drive system's just shuffling the power around. Another interesting thing I found out is that the reason this car handles so well is that the four-wheel drive system actually uses an overspeed function. That means the rear wheels are going faster than the front wheels, which gives it this incredible agility. It also, unfortunately, creates a lot of durability issues, but we've been assured that we've ironed those out, and if you're driving a lot on circuit, then the car actually has a sensor, a clock, and it'll tell you when you need to replace the oil in the clutch pack on the rear axle, so you don't end up wearing it out by having too much fun. The other thing you can really appreciate once you're out here on the circuit is the brakes. These Brembo brakes are the biggest ever fitted to a Focus RS, and I mean, on the road yesterday they were impressive, but here on the track, the stopping power and the staying power is really, really impressive. The pedal's easy to modulate, but they really haul you down. And the sound really comes into its own too. I might have said yesterday that the exhaust kind of just stays a little bit constant. It just gets steadily louder, and apart from the crackles and pops, there's not really that much fireworks going on. And apparently they could have engineered in a sound or a sudden rush of power right at the top of the rev range, but they said it would have made the car slower. And what was the point in making a four-wheel drive RS that was as slow as the old one to drive? I think that's fair enough, really. We've just got to try out drift mode now and see what that's like. Right, let's give this a go. This is my first time in drift mode, which sends a bit more power to the rear axle and also kind of puts everything else back in normal mode, so it's a bit softer on the dampers. Kind of just gives you more time to respond to stuff as it's happening in the car. Apparently you just push past the understeer, give it a bit of prod of power, and you can really slide the car around quite nicely. That's amazing. It feels rear-wheel drive. And it's stuff like this that makes you know that Ford as a company has a sense of humour and wants you to have fun with your hot hatch. And I really admire that. Yeah, we like that. We like that a lot. Well done, Ford. As you can probably tell, I got a bit over-enthusiastic out there on the track, but this car begs for that sort of enthusiasm. And all it takes is a few laps to realise that this is something truly special that Ford have made here. Look past the boorish looks and the bombastic exhaust note, shake off your inhibitions, and you'll be buying something truly exhilarating. And a new first for the hot hatch market as well. It's exceptional in almost every single respect, and that includes the price, which given the level of performance would be great value at twice the price.